Golf clap for that.
Yeah, that's
that
was awesome. That's Loki is more I definitely believe Loki is the best Disney Plus series they've done. The best.
Oh no, absolutely.
The best. Second is Miss Marvel.
No, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'll give I don't know where I'm gonna rank third. It'll be up there with either Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Hawkeye. But yeah, like this, I wish they would have taken the time to do the other series the way they did Loki. Like I would have never thought that Loki would be the Disney Plus series that would latch on to my attention and want to see where this thing goes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing about Loki and even this finale, it makes me excited to see where the MCU is going. Like, we've had all these different movies since Endgame, have all these other variation shows, but this show is the only one that's been like, I've been more excited for Kang. I've been more excited for the multiverse aspect of it. There feels like there's real stakes and real consequences and real sacrifices that are paving the way. And that's what Marvel used to be. Marvel used to be like, yo, somebody took an L. This is the sacrifice. This is what we're worried about. This is the consequence. And this show, I mean, the first season showed it absolutely, even at the end. But this throughout the whole entire season, like they knocked it out the park. I cannot believe how this ended. Yeah, I already pushed record on doing a review time.
That's fine. That's fine. I saw it. I seen the bar come down.
Without spoiling too much, man, like the way that Loki ends up, not only does it like mark him as Loki from the comics, but it also makes you happy to see where he went. Like Thor would be proud of where Loki went. And I think the other thing about it is that as far as the finale, like everybody, as far as an acting standpoint, was on their A game. Like they did a great job with filming everybody, acting their best. Like visually, this is one of the most stunning of the whole entire season. It was just a comic book incarnate, man. There's one moment, and I know you know it. Horns. That moment is like a legit Marvel moment. Like
and
Marvel used to be good for that.
And what I actually found interesting is that they're not his typical horns. Like we've seen the horns he's had. They've always been very comic booky. They've been more like something that he was wearing on his head. These actually felt like they were actually a part of him, and they evolved past the previous ones because they weren't his regular, gold ones. These are brand spanking, and it really, like, it almost gave that thing where they always said he's destined to be a loser. And it's not that he was destined to be a loser because he wanted a throne. He just didn't know the throne he was supposed to have.
Right.
Now he has the throne that he was supposed to have because he's not the Loki that we're used to. He has grown. He's outgrown that now.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Without going into too much, we're trying to keep it low key for you guys that hadn't seen it yet, but Loki literally evolves this whole entire episode, bro. I mean, he's been evolving the whole entire season, but what he has to go through, the lifetimes that he has to span to get to where he gets at the end is insane.
Yeah,
it's just interesting because I think that we look at these Asgardians almost like they're people because we don't get to see, them live through a long stretch of time. Like we see them where they are now, but watching Loki process everything he's have to deal with, only somebody like him, an Asgardian god, could have done it. At the end of the day, nobody else could have done it.
Yeah, I agree. He is the only one, or at least the way they've laid it out, he is the only one that could have done it. But what I really like is that they've taken a villain and given the villain content. That's what I absolutely like. It's they were actually able to push the story past I'll take that drink now. you know, like
Right.
they were able to push it past that and actually give him a good storyline. And kudos to Marvel for that. I just need them to do more of that with the other franchises that they're establishing, because there's certain Disney Plus franchises they have that could have been much better. But this one is their golden child, really.
Yeah.
This one was definitely top notch. And if anything, solidified this franchise, this Loki franchise. It's this episode. This episode, like you literally, this is your payoff. And you're literally going through every other episode for this payoff. And this payoff is absolutely phenomenal. So kudos to Marvel and Disney for that.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing. It's kind of like, I know people will be like, what was a better season, first season or second season? I mean, I think the way I look at it, it's like it's just a continuation. They just keep ramping it up and they allowing the story to breathe, evolve, and grow. Like I think that the first season of Loki was amazing, and I think that this was equally as amazing. They tipped the bar. They added new characters. Like Key being in this was amazing. Like I love seeing him in this series. But what I didn't suspect is so much of Jonathan Majors in this. Like he, especially in this episode, he stole every single scene, every single moment. But I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due. Tom's carried this whole entire thing. Like I'm really impressed by how they handled this finale, but more than anything, this season. I think it's one thing like the whole season's been really great, and then the finale is like, oh, okay, this is cool. I can't wait for the next season. Like we don't even know if there is going to be another season, but it was just great. It was a great finale to a great season.
Agreed. I mean, yep, definitely. I like that Marvel saw the potential beyond being the first quote unquote. I guess I want to say mini boss, although he was kind of major with Avengers. But their first focused villain, if you will, I think they did an incredible job seeing the potential in Tom to continue Loki to this point. And I'm in full agreement with you. I can't pick what's a better season because I don't even think you can break this down into separate seasons. This is just a long, this is a timeline that they've just broken up into episodes for you to follow along, but you can't really have one without the other, because just the way, like you could go through season one and be like, okay, but you now want more. And then when you get more, it's like you're glad to watch the first season because the first season holds so much that really makes the second season hit home, especially at this finale. So kudos to Marvel for the incredible storytelling and especially the screenwriters. Kudos to them. But yes, Jonathan Majors, man, this guy, I've never seen somebody play multiple roles, and then when he's referencing an alternate role, he does it in a way like he's talking about a different person, not a person that he's played. Like you can look at the character that he played and then look at someone talking about another character talking about that first character like it was completely different. You know, he's that, I mean, he's that good. And then to see the transition of character of a single character from, you know, humble yet secretly arrogant teacher or being to, yeah, I'm just letting the wheels, I'm just letting it all hang out now, because now that you know and you understand, we can have the talk. We can just let it roll now. So it's like, kudos to him, man. He's just absolutely incredible, and I want to see more of him in the Marvel universe, man. He's nailing it every single time. He's definitely one of those people that he's definitely one of those people I could see playing multiple roles if he wanted to in the Marvel universe, although that probably won't happen. He'll just remain Kang or variants of Kang. But he reminds me of the guy that played two different roles in Star Trek The Next Generation and Star Trek Voyager. If you remember that person, his name is leaving me, but Lower Decks actually focused on him their past season. So that's who Jonathan Majors reminds me of. I can see him playing Kang in this thread, but in another thread, he's playing like a whole different character, totally unrelated, and could pull it off. So kudos to Majors. But I gotta say this too. I do have to say this. Every single actor or every single character that was a main focus here, not just Loki, not just He Who Remains, but Mobius, Sylvie, B-15, Ouroboros, Frank, they all got their moment to shine a bit. And I thought that was great. And when they had that moment, they literally took it and ran with it. So shout out to all of the actors, because they really brought this all together and brought it home for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, man, the thing about Majors is that his approach, or even his inception of the idea of Kang the Conqueror, was done so well between Loki season 1 and Loki season 2. In my mind, it makes me want to forget about Quantumania. As much as I love his scenes in that, as much as I love the beginnings of that with him, with Michelle Pfeiffer, those scenes are golden. But everything else, I kind of wish I could just do without it. And we just have him go from this point and go forward, find another way. Because, dude, he does it so, and it's weird because in the hands of the right writers and directors and team, like, you take somebody to his caliber, you just go with it. Because I feel like the majority, and you guys can let us know in the comment sections, I don't think people left Quantumania, Ant-Man 3, afraid or concerned about Kang like they should have. I think that they looked at it like, man, you put Kang in here. Okay, cool. I'm excited for him. But then he ends up getting beat by Ant-Man. And in the way that they did it, it just didn't elevate him as our benefactor villain like this show has. This show, to me, has shown, like, dog, if we had the One Who Remains, and it was ever going up against somebody like Ant-Man, he can't touch him, because it's about time. It ain't about physicality. You can't touch him. Like, literally, he's gonna stop you in your tracks with time. And that's what we've always known from Kang. And that wasn't something that, in Quantumania, like, he didn't have any accessibility to that, true. But to me, I don't think it benefited our realization of what he's capable of. And I think that this show has. So yeah, I'm thankful for, the work that Jonathan's done. Hopefully he continues as the character. But the whole entire team, the writers, the DPs, the cinematography was freaking dope in this. They had a lot of great close-up shots to show people really truly emoting and dealing with this sacrifice they're all trying to ravel with.
Yeah.
But it was just great, dude. Like it was a phenomenal like finale, straight up. Like this to me kind of solidified this is the best Marvel Disney Plus show. I still think that if you go off Marvel shows, Jessica Jones season 1 is the best. Period.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
But
actually, I was thinking Daredevil because Daredevil.
season 3, yeah,
Yeah, well, I say Daredevil because Daredevil kind of sets up for the rest. You know,
yeah, yeah.
Daredevil was phenomenal, and I don't think we would have even a Jessica Jones or a Luke Cage. Um, and I'm not even going to mention the other one. It's not worth mentioning, but I don't think we would have had those if it wasn't for
He who could have
Daredevil.
got
And I'll be honest, I know that the reason why I stand by that is because when they transitioned Daredevil into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it was all, even though it wasn't even if it was a subtle reference, it wasn't even because he wasn't even he never even suited up. He was just there. He still did his thing. You know, I can't really count She-Hulk, but I can certainly count his time in Spider-Man No Way Home. Um, for sure. But what I have to say real quick on Quantum Mania, as I'm in full agreement with you. But what I find interesting is what they've kind of done here is kind of, I don't even want to say flipped it, but they're kind of doing, they're subtly doing what they did in the Infinity Saga. When the Infinity Saga was building up to Thanos, the first person you dealt with was Loki, right? Loki was kind of like the alley for Thanos's, like he set it up. And I feel like what they did here, I think they jumped the gun a little early with bringing him into Quantum Mania. Although we all, if we were all paying attention and we saw bits of Ant-Man and the Wasp, we would have known that that was coming. But I think they're repeating. I think they're finally understanding that they're repeating what they needed to do. Loki for me is like dang near the perfect setup when well written for a much bigger villain, you know. But what I love about this is that whereas in the Infinity Saga, it's a simple um beat this mini boss guy, you know, and then we find out, oh, there's a much bigger threat, you know, then it's here's the mini boss guy, but the mini boss guy has now inserted himself into the aspect of the bigger threat and is now a major factor of the bigger threat. You know, like we know Kang's coming, but what Loki is doing, and I think we're going to end up having a spoiler review. But what Loki is
We will
doing,
later. We will
yeah,
later for
what
sure.
Loki is doing here has literally inserted himself into this, and no matter what happens, he's not only going to be impacted, but he's going to be a major factor within it. Not that he wasn't in the Infinity Saga for sure, but it's a lot less of I'm the mini boss. You beat me. I'm still around, but now I'm the comic relief, you know, because I faked being my father. And, you know, I had the moments like watching my adoptive mother die and all that stuff, but I faked my own death. And then I took the throne and looked like my dad. Like all that's all like comic relief stuff to me, especially by the time we get to uh Thor Ragnarok. Like this time around, it's a serious Loki. It's a serious Loki, and it's Loki. Do we want to say even a hero? Maybe an anti-hero? But Loki is Loki has definitely earned his spot. If they were to put him like on a new Avengers team, Loki could do. I'd put Loki on it now, but he'd still be the anti-hero. But he's now inserted himself into this whole drama. He's literally now kind of at the center of the whole drama. So I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think if you from this season, I've kind of looked at Loki as a hero. I think season 1, he definitely was an anti-hero going down this path of being a hero. Then this season, he's a hero in the beginning, but I think he basically transcended that and just became a god, essentially. Like the route they took him, I can't look at him as an anti-hero or hero. Like he's gone to a whole nother level. But yeah, without saying too much more, man, this was great. This gets a 10 out of 10 for me. Season was a 10 out of 10 for me.
Full on.
Yeah, I'm so happy about this joint. It was crazy.
I'm glad to see a Marvel series or season. We don't know, but glad to see it come to a phenomenal end with a great payoff. We haven't really had one. You know, I would say Miss Marvel gave us a little bit. I would say the last one where we probably had some form of a payoff was Captain America and the Winter Soldier, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but not as big a payoff as what we got here. So,
yeah, not at all. And I think it's interesting because it's been a great time for good endings. AOT.
Oh my God.
Like, and I mean, Invincible is still right around the corner. So we're gonna leave it at that. Make sure you like, subscribe, you guys. We'll be back for more content. If you guys want us to go and do a full-on spoiler discussion, bringing more folks on, we're more than willing to do it. All right, y'all. Peace.
Filing out the top of the
I can see the skyline, 50 mile radius on my timeline. Ain't nothing on my mind. Oh Lord.